Welcome to the All Access Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Joseph Bruen. This week, a very special guest, a man who really doesn't need an introduction, but we're going to give him one anyway. The man behind the scenes of Chaotic Wrestling for so many years, of course, president of Chaotic Wrestling and part owner as well. And really, more importantly, in the eyes of many, the heart and soul of Chaotic Wrestling. And it's a pleasure to have him here today, Mr. Mark Beaudry. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me, Joe, and appreciate the kind words, too.
Absolutely. No, it's a pleasure, and everybody speaks so highly of you, so very excited to get you on here, take a deep dive into your career and your involvement in the world of professional wrestling and beyond. So very excited to have you here.
Thank you.
So rewinding to the very beginning, I'm not sure if you were a wrestling fan to start, but, growing up as a child, when did you first discover pro wrestling? And if you were a fan, who were some of your favorites?
Oh, yeah. So I'm 58 years old. So 1977, I was 9 years old, and that's when I discovered it. I remember Ken Patera breaking Billy White Wolf's neck. So that's my first thing that I remember about pro wrestling. And then I went to the Boston Garden for the first time in September 77. And I remember the main event was superstar Billy Graham defending his title against Chief Jay Strongbow in a cage. And then Bruno Sammartino versus Ken Patera in a Texas death match. So That was, I believe, September 77 at the Garden. But I've been a fan for a long time. And I always like the heels. Ric Flair's my all-time favorite. Roddy Piper's probably two, with Terry Funk, Randy Savage, and Ted DiBiase or Magnificent Morocco rounding out the top five. So then for managers, of course, everybody's going to say Bobby Heenan, be wrong to not say that. So, and then Jim Cornette and Paul Heyman, my favorite managers, and then Midnight Express, all-time favorite tag team.
Nice. Midnight Express. What iteration of Midnight Express, or does it not matter?
It doesn't matter. I tend to like Condrey and Eden a little better, just because the other look wise, Eden and Elaine were better, and they had great matches too. But I liked Condrey and Eden just a tad better.
I mean, we're talking about the convention scene off camera a little bit. What are some of the different conventions that you've been to over the years, and maybe did you have a favorite?
Probably Greg Price's conventions that he had in Charlotte, North Carolina. One of them he had in Atlanta, Georgia. I went to like 3 or 4 of those. Barry Rose still puts on great conventions down in Lute, Florida. He has some great ones. I've been to the Cauliflower Alley Club a number of times, as I'm a lifelong membership there. So those are probably some of my favorites.
And they say don't meet your heroes, but some of the legends that you've met over the years at some of these events, did you have, for the most part, positive experiences? And who were some that stood out?
Terry Funk and Roddy Piper, two of the best. I've never met Ric Flair. Jim Cornette's always fun. But Terry Funk and Roddy Piper, you would have think that they knew you for like years, and it wasn't just like a quick autograph and a quick picture and get the heck out of here. Those guys actually spent time talking to you and everything. So it was great to meet those two.
Yeah, I do remember Piper. He looked you in the eyes when he talked to you, and he actually listened. And he really wanted to take that time, and you could tell it was genuine.
Yep, that's so true, so true.
So when it comes to pro wrestling, at what point was there a certain moment where you said, you know what, I want to dip my toe in, I want to do something in this business? And when did you very first get involved?
Well, I always, as a kid, you always, I'm going to be a pro wrestler, but I was too small. I mean, I wrestled in high school, and freshman year, I wrestled for the 100-pound weight class, not because I was great. It was because I was the only one who qualified for it. I was like 85 pounds my freshman year. So, and then I eventually graduated. I was about 150, 160. So I eventually grew, but never big enough to be a wrestler. But I do remember going to Salem State and actually looking for Kowalski's school at one point, but I must have had the wrong address. I think I had the North Reading address, and I know later found out he was in Malden. So I remember looking for it, but never took that next step. Um, I first started when I used to pass out posters for ECW when they used to come into this area. I remember I used to meet up with the referee. Was it Joe Molyneux? I think was
Okay.
name, or John or Joe. I think it might have been John. But used to meet up with him and pass him around. I grew up in Drake, so I would pass him out for the Salem, New Hampshire shows, and then even up in Manchester sometimes too. So, and then the Chaotic one, helping out with Chaotic was totally by accident. I just happened to be started going to some of their shows in 2001, and then after a show, I was finishing a drink. And one of the owners at the time thought I was in ring crew and said, "Hey, if you're gonna be on ring crew, grab a board." So I just started helping out, and then he came up to me afterwards and said, "Hey, I apologize. Are you actually on the ring crew?" I'm like, "No, but if you need help, I'd love to help you." So that's how it all started. It wasn't me reaching out or anything. It was by accident. It was a great accident to happen.
And what are some of your early memories of former owner Randy Miller?
I liked Randy. Had never had any issues with him. He wasn't around too long. I started, like I said, my first show was in 2001. Started helping out in like January 2002, and I think he was gone not too long after that. Not sure if he moved up to Vermont, which is where I think he is now. But yeah, I never had any negative interactions with him. So
And you're a man that has had many faces within chaotic wrestling. You've done so much from, you were doing it all from setting up chairs to, selling tickets at the door to,
yeah.
you were the man booking the venues. When it came specifically to booking some of the venues, why don't you kind of walk us through that process for fans that maybe aren't familiar with that process, and what were some of your favorite venues to work out of?
Well, I used to be an outside sales rep, so I used to travel around Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine. Those were the uh, bigger states that I would drive around on. So anytime I was driving around, um, I would be I would always, and I still do it to this day. Why I don't know. I'm not involved. So, but I see a venue and I would just walk in and look to see what it was. Ask if I could go in and look and check it out, and then. I always look to see, of course, the ceiling. I always had a measuring stick in there to see. Hopefully, it's at least 15 feet high, and then just look to see if how many chairs you could probably put in there, and if they supply the chairs and so forth, and then if it looks like it's something that could be of interest, I ask if I could talk to the person, and then hopefully get through them saying, "Oh, it's for wrestling," and you would get a lot of no's right off the bat, and having being an Elks member helped a number of times too, where they would say no, and I would throw it out there that I was a member of the Elks, and they said, "Oh, well, hold on, maybe we can do something." So that helped specifically when we get the Hudson Elks in Mass and the Woburn Elks, the Lowell PAV I used to hang out at, and that's probably one of my favorite venues. Actually, that is the favorite venue, but I also loved Littleton, Hampshire. When we ran up there, it was just so far away, though. It's so tough to, stay postering on a consistent basis. It's a back and forth 2 hour ride each way. So, but that venue is fantastic, where the crowds are just right on top of you and so into it. So we ran there like 4 times a year for a couple of years, and that's probably my second favorite one. But the PAV holds a special place because so many great chaotic shows and things that happened in there.
And what are your thoughts on where wrestling has come? Back when you started there in Chaotic, things were different when it comes to advertising. You really had to rely, like you said, on those posters and getting those posters up. And obviously, you could do some radio or television commercials, but that's really about it as far as getting the word out. Where now social media, has taken over the world, and you can put something out and people see it instantly, and it's just easier to get the word around. What are your thoughts on that whole, where it's come?
Yeah, no, yeah. Back when we had, I sound like the old guy yelling at the clouds, but yeah, it was just posters and word of mouth. We did do commercials every now and then for a bigger show, or if we were going into a new area. We also had a show on WNDS TV 50 for a number of years. But that was like monthly shows, so there wasn't a consistent thing. So that was another way that we tried to get out. But yeah, no, it's great to have social media now. But at the same time too, if the fans aren't interested, they're not interested. So it's still tough. I mean, God bless everybody that does independent shows, as you can speak of, which your events. It's a lot of work, and you really need a passion for it. And if you don't love it, you may not want to stay in it for too long.
Yeah.
But the posters did work though, until the cops would call and say, "Hey, you're not supposed to be putting these on telephone poles, right?"
Right. Right.
So then you're taking them down right away after the show.
Yeah.
But we had some. Another way that we used to do it was we had people's emails. So we used to send email blasts and everything out. So that was another way that we used to do it. That was always pretty successful. And we had the chaotic faithful. I mean, almost every show, the first and second rows were pretty much taken, which was a huge help. So this past Friday night when I went to Cold Fury, I seen a number of those people still there. So that's fantastic. I love to see that. So yeah, social media is different now, especially with YouTube. You can put a weekly show out there and hopefully get some likes and people seeing something that they may have never thought of watching before. So um, yeah, it's different, but you know, we did okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about Cold Fury. Cold Fury 2026. You come back for a special night. You're inducted into the Chaotic Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Why don't you tell us about finding out, getting that call, finding out initially, and then walk us through the evening itself and just your experience.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Chase Del Monte uh, messaged me in January and said, "Hey, long overdue. We want to put you in the Chaotic Hall of Fame. What do you think?" I'm like, "Yeah, very honored to do so." And then this past Friday night in Lowell, I appropriately, where all so many Cold Furies were held at the PAV, and one time at a high school. Um, and Lowell special to me too. Growing up in Drake, at Lowell was right there. The Lowell Memorial Auditorium was a place where I seen many WWE shows and ICW shows and Ring of Honor and such. So Lowell's an underrated historical city for wrestling, if you ask me. But yeah, it was great to see a lot of people from the Logan brothers to Chase. To Mike Crockett, who got inducted with me. Great to see him. Of course, Jamie Jamakowski, who was the majority owner and one of my best friends. So he inducted both Crockett and I into that. And Scott Guerin, who helps with um, Chase with the promotion and in the school. They Chase, Brian, and Scott do a fantastic job with the school. But it was very nervous. I had my speech. I was kept going through it. I said, if I can do this without cheating on my phone, I'll do it. And I get out there, and as soon as I see the lights and everything, I'm good. If you put me, to do a reading at a church or something like that, I can do that. But when I got out in front, I tried to do it, and I made a comment during my speech when Jamie was gone on shows, and I had to give it like the locker room speech. I wasn't the best at it, so thank God I had my cheat sheet. It went well after that, but it was an awesome moment. Like I said, being inducted with Crockett, and then just the history of Chaotic. Who's come through there, and then seeing a lot of the people that have been supporting it for so long. So it was a great night. And then we had a thing on Saturday night where a lot of us got together again. So it was a great weekend. It reminded me how much I miss it, because I really do. It's it was part of my life for so many years, and I do miss it. And I love seeing what Chaotic Wrestling is doing now, from the entrances and the people that they're bringing up to NXT with the Ricky Smokes and such. So they're doing a great job, and proud of those guys for continuing it.
Oh, congratulations on being a part of that and being chosen, of course, as an inductee and for all your contributions to the wrestling world. It's greatly appreciated, and it's nice to see that that is being done for you. So well
Well,
deserved.
thank you, much appreciated.
Without a doubt. And when it comes to Jamie Jamakowski, you said you guys are great friends, obviously, for many years now. Why don't you tell us about that friendship, that relationship, when it started, the first time meeting him, and maybe a story or two from over the years with Jamie?
First time I met him, it was probably not until we started. I think it was after a Saturday class at the school, and we were going out to eat, and we were just talking, and found out I grew up, locally, and I was a golfer, so that was the first connection we had besides wrestling, and from there, we're only about 4 years difference in age, so that's also helpful too. So big Red Sox, Celtics, Patriots, Bruins fans, golfing, the wrestling. He's a big comic book guy. I like comic books too, but not like him. He's got an incredible collection. So,
Batman,
but
right?
yeah, and he's just a great guy, and yeah, he's my golf nemesis and one of my best friends. And but for a story, it's I don't know what give me a second, and I'll come back to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, who would you say were some of the easiest people to get along with backstage throughout the years, or, nicest to be around, some of the just very helpful people?
Rick Fuller was always great to work with. Brian Malonis, Brian Fury. They were always great to work with. Handsome Johnny, now Ivar in WWE. For a short while, I was booking, and he was on the injured list and helped tremendously. I'll say one thing for booking. I like the matches that I know I want to see, but he was so instrumental in putting getting the T's crossed and the I's dotted. So yeah, handsome Johnny Ivar is up there. Kofi was always great for the short time he was here until WWE saw him and signed him immediately. Mike Krul was a favorite. There is a lot. I mean, you know, because of Jamie running such a tight ship, it made it a lot easier too with everybody being understanding and wanting to work with you. So those are some of the good ones, and there's a lot more too. I'm sure I'm forgetting.
So much great talent to come out of chaotic wrestling over the years, without a doubt. What would you say what has your greatest challenge been thus far, or while you were active within the wrestling business?
I'd say the booking. When I got the book, I thought I could. This is going to be easy. I've been saying I could do this forever, and then when I got it, I'm like, wow, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And as mentioned, handsome Johnny. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have been able to get through it. So I'm glad I had the opportunity to do that. But like I said, I know the matches I want to see, but getting there can be a little tough sometimes. But yeah, handsome Johnny was helping. George Carroll is always great. Was great with helping with booking too. So and he's doing well up in NXT. But for other challenges, going back to the venues is actually getting into the venues and getting the people that run those venues or in charge of renting those out, getting over the stigma that it's pro wrestling. So, and I found once they seen one of our shows and there was no issues and they made money, we made money, and everybody was happy. Um, all was good, but I'd say that was probably the other one. Trying to get into new venues and especially schools. Schools were always tough, and we were able to get a couple Cold Furies. Not now. I don't think they've gone into a small venue since we started doing that. In Cold Fury 13, I think, when we went to Drake it where I grew up. We went there for a couple of years, and then we were in Lowell, and then Haverhill, and then they went to Haverhill again the year after Jamie and I sold it. So I'd say those are some of the toughest things.
And on the flip side of the greatest challenge, what would you say has been the most rewarding for you?
Making the friends that I did. Yeah, just a lot of great people I've met. Some of them still my closest friends. And another rewarding thing was all the hard work going into the shows, from promoting it to putting everything together and then seeing it come to life. And example, that first Cold Fury in Drake at Mass at the junior high school, we had over 600 paid people. And just seeing that for a Cold Fury, especially when the last number of them were in, the Lowell PAV where we squished probably 300 people in there. Um, you know, and then just seeing more than double that in a high school gym, and the reaction of the new fans and making new fans, that was very rewarding.
And all the hats that you've worn, whether, like I said, whether it be ticket sales or booking the matches, booking the venues, what hat has been your favorite? What aspect of the business do you enjoy personally the most?
I'd probably be Jamie's assistant. Like work, I'm a sales rep. I don't think I could ever be a manager. It's just not me. I'm a good soldier. I do my work, get it done, don't complain. But yeah, being Jamie's second is probably the best. But I loved actually for the show though, taking the tickets, just seeing the fans coming in, meeting them, get to know them, and you know, talking to them. So that's probably my favorite part. Was meeting and greeting everybody at the door before shows.
And going back to that very first day for you, you're finishing your drink, you're being mistaken as a ring crew person. You know, at what point did obviously you started helping out, but at what point were you officially a part of chaotic wrestling where you felt, okay, this is my family now?
Not too long, not too long from Mike Crockett and Todd Sinclair and guys like that. They made it very easy. And at the time, they were not too far off from my age, so that helped a lot. So and then when we sold it back in 20 at the end of 2017, people weren't so close to our age anymore. So things changed. But though Crockett, Malonis, Handsome, Mako, Eric, Mako, who's passed away. That was Duke Dalton, guys like that. That was and Jamie, of course. That was our group pretty much right there that got together for pay-per-views and everything. So it didn't take too long. It helped a lot, and yeah. And then a couple of years later is when Jamie offered me part ownership, and I thought about it and jumped on it pretty quick.
Now, top three matches, if you could choose chaotic wrestling history that you've witnessed anywhere or been a part of, if you could pick top three from any era of
Wow.
chaotic.
I'd say Mike Cruel versus Handsome Johnny in a steel cage, because that was our first steel cage match, and we actually put that cage up at the Lowell PAV the night before.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't just standard steel cage that you rented from somebody, and a call came assembled. We assembled that the night before. Um, so and that was a bloody match, and it was fantastic just seeing that come to fruition after putting it up the night before and it being our first cage match. Um, Second, well, Brian Malonis versus Rick Fuller with John Cena as special referee. That's up there, of course, with Vince McMahon coming in for Homecoming, and that was back. God, I just started becoming an owner. I think that was in 2007. Wow, it's been
Wow.
19 years for that. That was May 25th, 2007, I believe. So, and then probably Brian Fury's retirement match against Alex Arion. That's a favorite of mine because Fury and Arion, along with John Walters, some of my favorite chaotic guys that have come through.
And chiming in your inner fan, who would you say are the top three matches in the history of pro wrestling in general, in your opinion, whether it be television or indies or whatever?
Yeah, well, Flair Steamboat matches are fantastic. My favorite one is wow, there's just so many of those. Probably the trilogy in 1989 to gain one of those Flair Steamboat matches, but I have a lot of those on tape too from or DVD that I converted from the 70s that nobody really saw back then. Those are fantastic. I go with the Flair trilogies. I'd say Austin versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania, with the double turn. That was a great match. God, a third one. Oh, I'd say Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat WrestleMania 3, which is the first of a number of WrestleManias that I went to live. So
Oh, you were there live.
that was a fun trip. I was going to Salem State, and on a Thursday, my kid that I was hanging around with said, "Hey, my aunt lives in Michigan. She's got tickets, and we can stay with her. Do you want to go?" We said, "Sure." So four of us left that Thursday, got there on Saturday, and saw WrestleMania that Sunday and left on Monday. Missed a couple of classes. May have had to take them over again, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. We were literally in one of the last rows and couldn't see much, but just being there was incredible.
I think it would almost be more exciting being in one of those last rows at such a
Yeah.
grand event like that, special even more. But
Yeah.
WrestleMania 3, what was it like being a part of a crowd that large?
It was awesome. Just seeing everybody being excited about it and walking into a building like that. And, so, we were saying, no way is every seat going to be sold out. And finding out, yeah, it is. And we're in the last row. And we were watching, pretty much on the screen until it got dark and you could see the ring a little better. But it was exciting. And I was hoping for a title change with Andre that night, but like I said, I like the heels. But I think they ended up doing okay for themselves. But and then Randy Savage was always one of my favorites, and everything else that went on that night. That was just an incredible event. And then we made it a little tradition after that. We went to WrestleMania's 4, 5, 6 after that, and then a number of years later, just me and some other different friends went to 11 and 14 was in Boston, right? Yeah, 20 I
Yeah.
went to with my brother in New York, and then a couple others recently, were a couple of years ago in Los Angeles, where Jamie lives now. There was almost like a mini chaotic reunion where we went to both nights there in a luxury box. So,
So you've gotten to experience all different WrestleManias then. Do you have a favorite that you've been to live?
um,
I'm sure they're all special in their own way.
yeah, yeah, I'd say 3 and 6, three and
Okay.
six, 6 in Toronto was fantastic. I wish I was in Toronto for when the Hogan Rock one was there.
Oh, yeah.
But Yeah, I'd say those are two probably my favorites. But I was always able to go to my parents are divorced, and my dad lived in Maryland, and it didn't take him too long to figure out that every time I played my visits around him, there was a Great American Bash in Baltimore going on. So I went to a number of those too. So the Flair, Sting, Muda, and Terry Funk. That one right there with the brawl at the end is probably my favorite NWA WCW one though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, Mount Rushmore for pro wrestling as a whole, the TV side of things. So NWA, WWF, WCW, any of the territories, any era, what would your Mount Rushmore be?
Wow. Well, Hogan, Rock, Austin. I want to put Ric Flair on there so bad too. So you know what? He's my all-time favorite. I'll probably put Ric Flair on there too. But
Sure.
I mean, God, you're missing Bruno Sammartino. You're missing the Funks, the Briscoes. You're missing so many though.
Yeah,
You're
it's
gonna have
hard. I
to,
mean,
yeah.
it is what it is with a Mount Rushmore, but
You would have
certainly a
to
great order there.
almost have to do one for each decade.
Yeah, exactly. And bringing it to the local side of things, what would your Mount Rushmore of men's chaotic wrestling history be? And then the women on the other side of that, Mount Rushmore of women.
For chaotic, John Walters, Brian Fury, Handsome Johnny, Alex Arion.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but this yeah, there's so many,
Yeah.
which is fantastic when you think of the talent that's come out of chaotic wrestling. It's hard to put four there. For women, well, Mercedes, Nikki Rocks. Nikki Rocks is incredible. I mean, she was fantastic. Davian. Davian was a great champion, and she even won the chaotic title on her own there too. God, who else am I missing for the woman? Casey Ray was the longest reigning, so I guess we'll throw her on there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
So,
Lots of good. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna replay. I'll go back and put Alicia on there.
right, exactly.
Alicia Edwards. You know what? Yeah. So Alicia Edwards, Nikki Rocks, Mercedes, and Davian. That would be the four.
Alicia's
Absolutely.
done
Yeah.
very well for herself, that is for sure.
Yeah. It was great to see her this past. Her and Eddie saw both of them this past Friday night at Cold Fury, and so happy for them. Making a career out of this, and
Yeah.
just two great people right there.
Right, and they've put in the work for so long. It is nice to
Yeah.
finally see it paying off.
Absolutely.
And that's a
Absolutely.
great example of, don't give up. I mean, you could be in the wrestling business for 10, 15 years and maybe you're not on television or, and then all of a sudden a door can open, and after such a long career, you're still able to get to the top of the ladder and enjoy that success. So it's great,
Yeah.
great example.
Handsome Johnny's the perfect example of that. He wrestled for years, 10 years, 10, 15 years. He got signed in 20, officially, I think he got signed in like January 2018.
Yeah,
And I think he came to Chaotic in like 2002 or three.
yeah,
So, I mean, there's somebody who just did not give up.
right.
And, he's making a career out of it. And I could see him staying on board and being a trainer down the line, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's got a great mind for the business as well.
He
So
absolutely does. Yep.
yeah, that's it's always good. You got to be a well-rounded individual in the wrestling business and can take you such a longer way, if you're really putting in the effort not only in the ring but behind the scenes. It's a way to, advance yourself for sure.
Yep.
So if you had to choose number one moment in your career, whether it be, you know, in the ring, out of the ring, wherever, number one, if you could choose it, that one moment that you just remember to this day that really stands out.
Vince McMahon showing up
Yeah.
at Homecoming. Absolutely. I mean, no, like I said, John Cena was already there, and we had Eugene on the show, but Vince McMahon stepping into a ring other than a WWE ring, and it was ours. So, yeah, that's easily the number one right there.
And when did you decide that you were going to kind of dip out of the wrestling business, and what kind of led to that? And what have you done since then? With fans are wondering post wrestling, what's it been like for you?
Well, Jamie and I were talking about it as we were getting up there. I was about to turn 50, and Jamie's about 4 years behind me. And like I said, the best part when I first started, there was so many people, right around my age. And, you know, uh, now that I was living up to my name, adult, as everybody would call me. Um, so it just got a little like, all right, we've laid this down. We put a good foundation. We're ready to hand it off. And at the time it was Chase and Brian Fury that we handed it off to, and Chaotic's still flying high today. But it was a combination of just it's been a number of years, things changing, and just wanting to do different things. But I do miss it. I do miss it. But what I'm doing now, I still watch what I can on TV. I still got an attic full of action figures that I got to make clear that if I pass away to my niece and nephew, don't throw these out because I got a heck of a collection up there from all my LJNs and classic
Wow.
superstars. Which do you it look like? I thought I seen some classic superstars behind you, but I
Yeah,
don't
I do
think so.
have. Let's see if I can. There we go. Kind of got some of
Yeah,
the newer guys there, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like,
But and then the big rubber guys by Mac Mac Cardona and Brian Myers. Those are fantastic. And now that the LJNs, I'm like, I'm 58 years old. Why am I collecting these? And I'm like, well, these are awesome. I love
yeah,
them. And I still got all those and all my old magazines from. I had like every I got like every Pro Wrestling Illustrated, The Wrestler, Inside Wrestling from like their first issue up until about end of '92 is when I stopped collecting magazines, pretty much.
yeah.
So
Huge fan of magazines. Growing up as a kid, like you said, PWI, The Wrestler, Inside Wrestling,
yeah,
Wow Magazine. Even some of the other ones, New Wave Wrestling. There were so many options back then, and it was sad to kind of see them go by the wayside. And obviously, it's a digital age now. But what's your take on that? You're able as a child to, go to the magazine aisle and read about all your favorite territories and superstars, and now it's kind of it's a different world.
yeah. I just remember like I thought it was the best thing in the world when like the Wrestler and Inside Wrestling and those guys put the next issue date on the bottom of like page 2 or whatever. I'm like, oh, this is great. And now I just remember riding my bike to Little Peach and Drake it, or the 7-Eleven that was out there too in the Lowell line, and just picking up all my magazines and putting them in a bag because I'm a neat freak and make sure there's no fingerprints on them. And then, but just picking them up and just seeing the news and saying, "Oh my God, Auto One's just won the AWA title," even though it was like 3 months prior. And then I would always go to the rankings page, see what championships may have changed, see who was going into the territory. Then I go to Bill Apter's column, the what's happening, or depending on what magazine it was called something different, but just getting up to date. Um, and it makes you reflect on how many more people probably made a living from pro wrestling back then, where now you have WWE and AEW and TNA and others. But back then, the local guy could just live going to Florida to Mid Atlantic to Pacific Northwest and be continually be fresh because they change so much. So yeah, I still enjoy it now. Yeah, it's different. Um, but I still like it. But I still have all my DVDs and go on YouTube a lot and watch a lot of old school wrestling every now and then. So yeah, I still love it, but it's different.
I'm a big supporter of physical media. I just enjoy having the case in hand and being able to look at the
Yeah,
booklet. And as you can see here, there's a little wall here of all the wrestling. That's just wrestling.
yeah,
So kind of crazy, but always
yep,
been a fan, and it's I take in all different types of even the old stuff. The territories, and it's just great to just a wrestling fan in general. So
yeah, absolutely. And as a kid growing up, we had WWF, of course, and then World Class came on, and then we had next thing you know, Mid South was on, and then Florida. We found Florida at one point, and then AWA and on ESPN, and then we found all those, and then ICW was a local. I went to those shows in Lowell. World Class came to Lynn, Mass twice in '85. Yeah, I think it was like April and it might have been April and May of '85, and then August of '85. Me, my brother, and my dad went to both of those shows, which was fantastic because got to see the Von Erichs and Gino Hernandez and Chris Adams. Gino Hernandez was a big time favorite of mine.
mm,
Um, but just seeing those guys, and they drew really well too. Um, and then, like I said, going to NWA shows, first time in Boston, but then in Maryland area where my dad lived at the time. So, but the ICW shows, I guess you may want to say those were probably the first independent shows I might have gone to. I don't
yeah,
know if you want to call them an independent, but they would bring in heck of a lot of talent in there, from Kevin Sullivan to Bruiser Brody to Mark Lewin and Austin Idol. Those guys that I read. Speaking of the magazines that I read about in the magazines, and I'm going to see these guys in Lowell.
right.
Which was fantastic because they did like 3 or 4 TV tapings and everything. So you seen a lot of guys there, which was Dory Funk was there. Yeah, just so many. It was awesome. Barry Windham, Blackjack Mulligan. You know, yeah, it was great.
You said you were so particular in the conditioning of your magazines. Are they still in great condition to this day? Have you kept them kind of
they're
pristine?
they're up in the attic. They're still in plastic and boarded.
Yeah,
So if I go up to my attic and pull out a magazine, though, I could be up there for hours because next thing you know, I'm reading them again.
right. How many
So, but yeah,
magazines would
no.
you say you had, if you had to
Oh
guess?
God. Oh, it's at least over 1,000.
Wow, yeah.
I'm trying to think. 12 issues for it's probably a couple thousand. I would say I do have it on an Excel spreadsheet. I'm so OCD
All
somewhere,
right.
you know.
That's a good thing. Yeah, keep it organized. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. That's because I just remember giving cassette tapes, music cassette tapes to people in school and never getting them back. And then
Right.
I'm putting, if anybody's borrowing something, I'm putting something on a spreadsheet.
Yeah,
And
that
then
makes
it
sense.
helps when I'm looking for to fill in the missing pieces when I do go to a show. If I'm finding that March issue of 1972, The Wrestler or something.
Right. And how about the
So,
wrestling figure end of it? How many would you say?
oh
How many
God.
figures? Are you just an LJN guy, or have you expanded beyond that?
Oh God, I have LJN. I skipped over Hasbro.
Oh,
And thanks to Todd Sinclair, who was collecting classic superstars line and going over his house and seeing those. I'm like, oh, these are cool. And it got caught up, and I have every classic superstar. I have every. I'm missing
wow.
like two black cards of LJN. I got the Gloobs, WCW Gloobs. I got the AWA Remcos. I got those bloody figures. I forget who with like Ox Baker and
Oh, the Figures Toy Company.
yeah, I get those. And then I get lots of Mattels, the new LJNs, the big rubber guys. Yeah, I get a lot. I need to finish my attic and start displaying some of it before I before it's too late.
I would love to
So
see it. Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like to see it all put together too.
Yeah.
And I'm a belt mark too, but the only belts I have are like the toy NWA. I mean, it looks good, but it's not like a Dave Milliken copy of the NWA and ECW titles, and then I got one of the old Chaotic Tag titles, and then they made a replica of the heavyweight belt for Jamie and I when we left. So I got that too. So
Wow. And your figures, are they in package still or are they loose?
yeah, well, not the LJNs and some of those because I didn't play with them because I was like 17 at the time, but
Right.
that I did take them on and display them when I was a kid. But they're still in great shape. They're in bags now, sealed, but they're still in great shape.
Wow. That's great.
But all the ones after the classic superstars and the Mattels and the new stuff are still in the original packaging.
Yeah. And you mentioned the big rubber guys coming out. They've been doing great with those for
Yeah,
Max
those are great.
Cardona, and now WWE is doing LJN again as well.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
And I get Power Town, but I'm getting like many people are getting screwed on those right now.
Yeah. What's going on
I'm
with
never
those?
get. Oh, I don't know. It's been a while since we heard from them. The last
Yeah.
we heard from them that they said, "Oh, they'll be coming. They'll be coming by the end of the year," and that was 2025. And
Which year is the big question?
yeah, I mean, and then I did get the first couple of those, and they look great. So I'd love them to finish up what they promised, and then they'll be it for me from them. But
Yeah.
the ones that I did put out looked really good. So yeah, I get a lot of stuff that eventually will be a wrestling room. So I like
Oh,
to
that's great.
display that one day. So
Yeah,
retirement's not too far away. So I'll
there
have
we
more
go.
time.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing that for sure. And when it comes to adults, you mentioned the nickname that was given to you. How did
Yeah.
that start? And tell us all about that.
um, so after a show, just like the way I got inducted into ring crew, putting up, taking down the ring and everything. And Milo, one of the owners at the time, yelled out, "Hey, Mark!" And the mighty mini Mark Bourne, who was like 15 at the time, just started training, and both him and I turned around at the same time. And Milo goes, "No, no, no, no! I want the adult Mark." And Todd Fat Pants Sinclair happened to be within earshot and said, "Oh, because he gave everybody nicknames." She goes, "You're adult. That's it." And I've been adult since 2002.
Oh, that's great.
So, and Pants made sure they didn't call me Mark; that it was adult Mark.
Right, right.
But yeah.
I've always
So
known
that's
of
how
the
it came
nickname. I
about.
just never knew how it started.
That's how, yeah, yeah, because I was the adult version of the two marks that were out there.
Makes sense. So, best piece of advice that you've ever received?
On anything or for the
Well,
wrestling?
within the
With
wrestling
the
world.
wrestling? Well, if you're going to be an owner, you got to love it because it's not easy. People think you could just rent a ring and next thing you know, you're going to be making hundreds and thousands of dollars. You're not. If you're going to get involved in the wrestling business on the ownership part, be prepared to spend a lot of hours promoting, booking, writing, selling tickets, and investing in it. And if you really want to make something out of it, stay true to it and invest your time and give it your all because it's not just something you plug in and play.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of dedication, and to anybody doing it, God bless them because it's not easy. So my hats off to anybody that's from putting up shows to conventions to anything. It's not easy.
That's for sure. Any keepsakes over the years from chaotic wrestling that you still have to this day that you kind of cherish? And
Physically or
yeah, any old posters or did you keep anything?
yeah, I do. I get the homecoming one. I got a bunch of Cold Furies. I put those in. There was one that Mike Crockett had made for the first 5 years of Fury, and he had every poster um, from all the shows, pretty much surrounding that. I got one of the old Chaotic Wrestling Tag Team titles, and I got a replica of the current heavyweight championship that they had made for after we had left and presented it to me for my 50th birthday.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know, we never were big on programs. I do got all the DVDs we had put out, so I can put those in and watch.
Nice.
So yeah, so some good stuff there.
Any more memories you could share of ECW, those early days you're helping promote and you're putting posters out?
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Just the shows that they had in Salem and Manchester. Those were the shows that, because where I grew up in Drake, it right on the Pelham, New Hampshire line. New Hampshire's like right there. So those are the areas that I would help poster and Woburn too. Um, uh, just seeing the ECW guys, just seeing how they became from a small indie to what they eventually became. In my heart, I almost wish it stayed the small version because once they get to TV, it changed. But yeah, that was a lot of fun too. Just it was a lot different. It wasn't like I made the friendships like I did in Chaotic. I just put up posters and then got a free ticket into the show, and you knew some of the other people that did the same thing. So, um, but yeah, just seeing some of the talent that went through there and became big superstars, and then their growth too. But ECW the way it originally was fantastic.
Yeah. And what advice do you have for somebody who's maybe just getting into the wrestling business now?
Um, Learn to take your pay your dues, like they always say. Being an owner or a wrestler, find a great school like the one that Chase and Brian Logan and Scott Garren run in North Andover, or some of the others that are out there. Get trained, be true to it, dedicate yourself. If you're chasing a dream, keep chasing it and put your heart and soul into it because it's not easy.
And when it comes to putting pen to paper and putting together the shows, what's the hardest part of putting together a wrestling show?
Well, we used to try, we at Caddock used to try to get all our dates on the books for the next calendar year, like in October, November. Especially when we had the Lowell PAV and the Wilburn Elks as our two main boys. Those were our two main ones. We used to get all the dates for that following year, get commitments. Getting commitments from the talent was the biggest thing because storylines are great, but if they're not going to be there to present those storylines, it
Right.
won't work, obviously. So, getting those dates in the books and getting commitments from the talent, and then just having a great team around you. Like I said, when I did the book, I think I'm a great matchmaker. I know the matches I want to see, but putting the stories up to it, you need that team around you to say, hey, we need to do this to get to here, to get to this match and make it make sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, we need a great team around you with a lot of creative ideas, and it's one thing to cheer on wrestler A versus B, but if you want their heart and soul into that match and get them cheering and booing, you have to have a nice storyline with it.
And when you started in those early 2000s into the mid 2000s, it was independent wrestling was very territorial. How
Yeah.
did you perceive the other New England based independent promotions at that time? Did you pay any mind to any of the other promotions? Did you kind of see what they were doing, study them, or did you just kind of concentrate on your own thing?
We concentrate on our own thing, and I had been to NECW shows, WFA shows, EWA shows with Heresy, Dr. Heresy. And this was before even when I was owner, I didn't go to as many, but when I was just a fan, I would go to all those. So I was aware of everybody and seeing what they were doing. You didn't want to try to be repeating the same thing and having the same storyline going, continuous with theirs. So no, I was cognizant of everybody else's promotions, whether if I went to their shows or just followed them online and see what they were doing, and check out some of the talent. They're all independent contractors, and when I used to help out with the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Amsterdam, New York, and I used to see talent up there and try to get some of those guys up to our way. So, and a number of them did come up. So, but also with Chaotic, we had a great relationship with Jim Kettner's ECWA and um, the IWF out of New Jersey too. So that's where a lot of the, not a lot, but we also get like the Fred Sampsons of the world, Sean Bennett, who's a referee in WWE, Danny E, was a fantastic wrestler and bumper as part of the Blow Up Boys for Chaotic. He's a referee in WWE now. Fred Sampson, if I didn't mention him already, he came from there. But that was like Kevin Knights, and then the Robbie E's, the number of those guys that came from Kettner's. So yeah, we had a nice little three areas that we could choose from.
Mhm. Any memories of the voice of chaotic wrestling, Rich Palladino?
Yeah, yeah. I think we were twin sons of different mothers. We said this past weekend when we saw each other. So yeah, we're a lot alike. We're just a year different in age. Love the old school stuff. He's a collector too. when a bunch of us went to NXT when they first came to Albany, New York. We met up with another guy who was part of Chaotic at the time, RJ DeLuise. We met up with him and another guy, Sledge, who wrestled for us. We went to the shows up there and stayed over. So Rich is a great guy, good friend, and yeah, we're a lot alike when it comes to wrestling. Nothing goes just as planned, right? um, and maybe in some places, put a little things, things that you know now that you didn't know then. You wish you could have applied, but overall, very happy with it. The places like the PAV stopped, being sold. That put a dent in some things, and had to get some new venues, but doing it over again. I mean, I wish we could have got on TV consistently, but that was a financial thing. And then when we did do it, sometimes we would lose fans because they would just watch it on TV. But overall, maybe I don't know. No, I think overall it was fine, but I'm sure I'm going to get off the phone with you here and say, "Oh, I wish I said this." But no, I think we did a great job with the school, the promotion. Um, Maybe a little more, couple shows more a year, maybe, or maybe a couple other places that we want to go. But overall, very, very happy with, what we left behind.
Any road stories from your career that come to mind, or just funny stories in general behind the scenes that you still, laugh about today?
One with Julian Starr when our first show up in Littleton. He drove the Ryder truck, and I went up with him because it's such a long drive. Keep each other company and make sure nobody's falling asleep at the wheel. Right after the show, all boarded up, ready to go, head back, and we knew we needed gas, and we legit ran out of gas as we rolled into the gas station. So
Oh,
we still laugh about that one. Another one was me and Rich, like I mentioned, we went up to Albany and went to an NXT show, which was a great weekend. I drove up, parked in I guess now I know why I was surprised that nobody was parking there. We went into our hotel, checked in, met up with Danny E and Sean Bennett, Chaotic alumni, went out with them, and then we went out to go, get some dinner, and my car was gone. And then we had to go get my car because it was towed because I was in a spot that shouldn't have been parked in. And then, all was good, got the car back. And then the next day after the show, I was parked where you're supposed to be with the hotel. And, they'd take your keys, and valet park it. And they could not find my keys. Which was fun. And then me and Rich were taking a taxi home, taking a taxi to go get a rental car. And then they called us and finally found our keys. So that was a fun weekend. Ended up getting a couple free nights at the hotel, but that was a good one. But a lot of great times. I enjoyed being on the road because it always involved. They were late, but they were fun. I always loved the going to Denny's or whatever, and the friendship and the camaraderie and the laughs that we had afterwards. So, yeah, those are just some of them off the top of my head.
and as you mentioned, there's so much that goes into putting in a successful wrestling event. In your opinion, what makes a great wrestling show?
Presentation one, you don't want it to look like an indie show. If you walk in and you see no barricades and it's really old ring with 22 different colored ropes, no entrance, maybe just a curtain hanging up with pins or something. You walk in and you say, "Oh yeah, all right, this is an indie show," and the expectations are high because the presentations that WWE does. So, um, you want to make it as professional as you can make it look, run it as professional as you can, and put out the best talent. You don't want to put out anybody that doesn't belong out there, and make you look bad, and even worse, have them get hurt. So make it look good, have it be good, and tell compelling storylines, and keep them coming back, and appreciate the fans too. Do the meet and greets, do the pictures, things like that. So want them to come back. But presentation is, a lot of people say you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. If you walked into like Cold Fury the other night and seen that entrance and the bleachers and the setup, I was blown away. I thought we had a nice entrance until, with our LED lights and a big screen. Um, and then I see what they had, and I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. Hats off to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's huge right there.
And we touched on it briefly, but let's go back to that special night for Chaotic Wrestling with Brian Malonis, Rick Fuller, John Cena is the
Hey,
special guest referee, unheard of on the independent circuit. To see something as big as this was huge, and obviously to have Vince McMahon himself involved, it's unheard of. You won't see it ever again, and you never
yep.
saw it prior to that. We've already talked to Jamie about it. We've talked to Brian Malonis about it. Why don't you give us your point of view of that evening and Vince's involvement and just everything around that spectacle?
Yeah, no, Jimmy gave him a heads up that there was rumors that he could be coming, but I didn't know he was 100% coming until he got into that ring. But it was just a great night. That we raised a lot of money for Mothers Against Drunk Driving for John Cena's brother's precinct that I believe he got hit by a drunk driver. And that's how the show came about. But just the excitement, knowing how many tickets were sold, how many people were going to be there, John Cena being on the show. Eugene wrestled Ivar, Handsome Johnny, and just to display some of the talent that was on there from Brian Malonis, being a future Ring of Honor star. Fred Sampson was on there, future WWE guy, and so much more. Nikki Rox was on there, Alex Arion, just being able to display it was exciting because not just the people that we knew from Cena and so forth that was going to be on the show, but displaying the great talent that was on there to a new crowd because uh, Byfield was in some place that we went to before. So I know we ended up getting a number of new fans from that, but just the excitement. And then when Vince McMahon finally came into that ring and just seeing everybody get out of their seats standing up, I was like, oh my God, Vince McMahon is here in a chaotic wrestling ring and then doing his thing with, Malonis and then Cena. Was great. It was great. I know it's been played a couple times now on YouTube. You can find it somewhere. But yeah, it was fantastic. And I remember watching and showing it to the tape the next day to like Jim Kettner and Jamie. We're like, oh my God, look at this. it,
Yeah.
it was just awesome. And then he was like outside and somebody gave him from WWE because WWE was there. They had a camera and there was a guy that was probably giving him the heads up. Then he came out of a limo, came in, did his spots, and then just left.
That was it.
So yeah, it was fantastic. I just can't believe that was 19 years ago.
Wow. Goes by so quick.
It does, it does. But yeah, no, that was just a great night.
Yeah. Any memories that you could share of the Hurricane, John Walters?
Oh, he was great. Great technical wrestler. I mean, just put on fantastic matches with Louis Ortiz and Aaron Stevens and so many others. He was probably my first favorite in Chaotic because I just love the wrestling aspect, and he was a fantastic wrestler, and then like a Eddie Guerrero type, But yeah, no, he was fantastic, and the matches he put on were always great. Like I said, with Aaron Stevens, Louis Ortiz. Just I'm trying to think all the others that he did. I think he wrestled Mike Cruel. Um, but well, the big one. I remember when I went to the NEI tournament. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
New England Independent Tournament. The first one I think was in where was it? Not Sudbury. It was outside Marlboro, and
Hmm.
Alex Arion faced John Walters, and Alex Arion beat him. And I remember my friends still give me uh, tease me because I threw down my chair. I was all upset because it was like Chaotic versus WFA at the time,
Right.
and I was cheering on my Chaotic, side. So, but he was just awesome, and he still puts on good matches to this day.
Yeah.
Keeps himself in great shape, and he can still go out there today and put on a great show. So, yeah, him, Fury, Ariana, are my three favorites, and I was really looking forward to seeing Brian Fury uh, come back this past Friday night, but that's been put on hold, and hopefully he still can do it one day.
Yeah. Yeah. John's another great asset to the business and somebody who,
Absolutely.
still can certainly be, picked up as a trainer or somebody for NXT to kind of help pave that new way of talent for sure.
Yeah, if NXT and that existed back in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
so many people would have been picked up from him to uh, referees like Crockett and Fat Pants. I mean, Fat Pants ended up doing Todd Sinclair ended up doing very well in Ring of Honor, but if that existed back then, so much more talent would have been picked up.
And what's next for you? What can we expect?
Just enjoy it as a fan.
Yeah.
I'll probably attend more chaotic shows because I did love the other night seeing people and the show that they put on. So I'll probably head out to more chaotic shows and maybe some other independents. And then I try to go to WWE shows. There hasn't been any house shows locally around here anymore. So
Right.
I know they're coming to Plymouth for NXT in I think it's April 11th or something like that. So I may check that out, but nothing crazy. Just work, be a fan, and when the snow goes away, play some golf. And hopefully
Uh,
Jamie comes up for the summer so I can kick his butt.
yes. The challenge has been made. There it is. So now, basically, fast forward many years from now, looking back at your career as a whole within the wrestling industry, how do you want to be remembered? What would you like your legacy to be?
um, just as that somebody who put in a lot of hard work with Jamie and made built a great foundation for the future of a lot of pro wrestlers. And somebody that enjoyed doing it, even though there was times that it didn't seem like I enjoyed it with some stress, but I loved doing it. If I could do it again, all over again, I would. But somebody who helped create a foundation for some future superstars.
Without a doubt. And with success comes the stress. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Mark, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you taking the time, being a part of this, and it's been my pleasure.
Oh, mine too. And you may see me at your event in May, so I may end up checking that out.
Yes, please do. Would love to see you there, and we'll talk off camera. For Mark, I'm Joseph Bruen, and this has been the All Access Entertainment Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave your comments. Love to hear from you, the fans, what you thought of this episode, what you'd like to see in the future. And we will see you all next time.